Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to Pick and Mix, and this week it's mixing it up. It is the penultimate mixing it up because in the new year we're bringing back an old favourite. So today is a little bit different, like the last one will be a little bit different. And today we're going to have a look at the career of Jim Steinman. James Richard Steinman, of course, born 1947, died in 2021. Composer, lyricist, record producer, arranger, pianist, singer. Worked with so many artists, mainly Bonnie Tyler and Meat Loaf. One was good and one was not as good. So we're going to have a look at all the stuff that Jim has been involved with today. So it all goes back to 1973, where he composes a song for Yvonne Elliman on her Food of Love album, Happy Ending. It's a great song and has already got this, what we would come to learn and love about Jim Steinman's work. I mean, Yvonne Elliman was a fine singer, so not a bad start, was it? 1977 then. We move on to his collaboration and his first collaboration with Meat Loaf on the Bat Out of Hell album, of course. He was the composer and done the backing vocals, but he didn't produce it because this was produced by Todd Rundgren. So the songs on here that really stand out for me are Bat Out of Hell and Paradise by the Dashboard Light. 1981, he puts out his only solo album. It's called Bad for Good. So he does the lead vocals on this. He writes, arranges and produces and plays keyboard. Again, you'll recognise these songs that are on the album. Two of the good ones are Bad for Good, of course, and Out of the Frying Pan Into the Fire, which appeared both on later Meat Loaf albums. But in 1981, he does work with Meat Loaf again, and he produces and composes and sings on the album Dead Ringer. Two great songs on that. There's so many on this. It's an underrated album for me. Dead Ringer for Love Itself and Gonna Love You for the Both of Us. 1983. Air Supply put out their greatest hits album, but they put a new song on it written by Jim. It's Making Love Out of Nothing at All. It's a typical Jim song, lots of elements on here that we know. Beautifully done by Air Supply. Good work there. He also then produces an album for Bonnie Tyler, who you know I'm not a big fan of. He's a producer arranger, and that's the Faster Than the Speed of Night album. And there's two tracks on there that everyone knows, Faster Than the Speed of Light, and the big hit from that album, Total Eclipse of the Heart. 1984, he writes a song for a band called Fire Inc. to put on the soundtrack to The Streets of Fire. Tonight Is What It Means to Be Young. Good track, actually. I don't mind that. It's a bit poppy, but it's still pretty good. He also writes a song for Barbra Streisand called Left in the Dark for her Notion album. It's alright. I'm not a great fan of that one. He also produces an album for Billy Squier in 1984. He produces his Signs of Life album. Eye on You and Can't Get Next to You are pretty cool tracks off that album. So we'll move on to 1985. He's working with Meat Loaf again, but he's not producing. He just puts two songs on an album. I think their relationship was sort of very fragmented by this time. So there's Nowhere Fast and Surf's Up. Not the best songs on the album, but they're still, you can tell they're Jim's. 1986, he does a production on probably one of the worst produced songs he did. It's a band called Urgent, and it was on the Iron Eagle soundtrack, and it's Love Can Make You Cry. Nice song, but terrible production. But it was the 80s. Okay, 1987. He's produces a couple of songs on the Sisters of Mercy album, This Corrosion, Floodland, and the Mother Dominium and Mother Russia. Excellent songs from an excellent album. Staying with 1987. He produces and composes and arranges another album for Bonnie Tyler. Secret Dreams and Forbidden Fire. Don't like it. It's absolutely rubbish. I just don't like Bonnie Tyler. Okay, 1989. He produces, composes and plays keyboards on an album done by Pandora's Box, and it's called Original Sin. Now, there are two songs on here that you know. One's called Good Girls Go to Heaven, but Girls Go Everywhere. And It's All Coming Back to Me. First time you heard that, you know who's had a big hit with that. Another album that needs to be put in the one-off albums. 1990 then, he's back working for doing a song for Sisters of Mercy. And he wrote a song called More. And I do like that song. Brilliant. 1993. He's sort of gone back with the Meatloaf. They've sorted themselves out. And they work on Bat Out of Hell 2. Back to Hell. Once again, there's lots of songs that... There's a couple of songs that Jim's wrote for other people that are on here. But Life is 11 and I Want My Money Back is good. And Rock and Roll Dreams Come True are pretty good tracks. 1996. One of his songs appears on Celine Dion's Falling Into You. And it is her version of It's All Coming Back to Me Now. Yeah. There's an even better version of this we'll talk about very soon. So 1997. Now, how many know people that know this? He wrote a song for Boy Song and it was a big hit for them. It's from their Where We Belong album, but Jim Steiman wrote No Matter What. Who knew that? I didn't, but there you go. Also, in 1997, he did some work for the soundtrack of Anastasia, and he wrote a song or composed some music to In the Dark of the Night. Now, when you listen to this, although it's orchestral, you just know it's Jim Steinman. The way it's put together, very, very good. He also puts a song together for the Marcus Zorro film, I Want to Spend My Lifetime Loving You, and it was sung by Tina Arena and Mark Anthony. It's really good. It's not a bad song. I don't mind that one. 2002. He writes a song for Russell Watson. From his Reprise album, Is Nothing Sacred. It doesn't matter who he writes for. He does a good job, and it's a nice song, and I think Russell sings it really well. Okay, but then I think his biggest blip. Writes a song for Cuban Link, Chain Reaction, and the song's Letter to Pun. What was he thinking? Stop it. 2002. He sort of arranges songs for Opera Babes on their Beyond Imagination album and Victoria. Very nice. 2006. He's back working with Meat on Bat Out of Hell 3. The Monster is on the Loose. And this is probably the best version. He writes a few songs to that album. There's a great version of Meatloaf and Marion Raven singing It's All Coming Back to Me Now. The best version of that song ever. Another of my favourite songs on this is In the Land of the Pig, The Butcher is King. Bad for Good is on this, and it features Brian May on guitars. If It Ain't Broke, Break It, another good track. And we got Seize the Night, which is an excellent track, and The Future Ain't What It Used to Be, which Meat sings with Jennifer Hudson, and then Cry to Heaven. Excellent. 2016. He's back working with Meat on the Braver Than We Are. He's a composer and arranger, creative consultant. Going All the Way featured Ellen Foley. Now, Ellen Foley, of course, sang on Bat Out of Hell. And it's a pretty good song. So, there's not much I can choose here for my favourite albums, because that's all good. But I'm going to give us some shout-outs instead on this one. Of course, we've got Bat Out of Hell, which is a great album. The very underrated Bad for Good album, Jim's solo album, which we will do as a one-off album very, very soon. Because it is a good album. It's got some great songs on it. I'm going to give it a shout-out to the 2 tracks he done on this, Corrosion. Brilliant songs. And I'm going to give a shout out to as well to the Bat Out of Hell 3. Although he didn't compose it, the best songs on that album are actually written by Jim, and it's got that great Bad for Good featuring Brian Ray, superb. It's all coming back to me, and The Future Ain't What It Used to Be. Brilliant songs. And of course, just a very quick mention to the song Going All the Way, which featured Ellen Foley on the Braver Than We Are album. So there we go. A little bit different from normal, but it was great to go through the work of Jim Steinman. Fantastic songwriter. You can't deny that. Okay, that's all for today on the video side. That's 3, but we'll be back tonight, of course, with the live stream. So I'll see you all later. And if you're not joining us for that, as it happens, we'll be back tomorrow where we have got a live album reviews, and we've got we're going to be ranking the live albums of Tears for Fears, and we've got a brand new album to look at, and that is Time Machine from the brilliant Cats in Space. So have a good day, everyone. Bye for now.